Alright, so I was able to show the situation, or show his face to a couple of people. Charlie, the guy who helped me to wrap my kayak. He also knows a few of the other people who have been predatory towards me here. He said he's gonna look it up, which I hope he will, but you know, life gets busy. I'm trying to hopefully I'll get to see Susan today. Her car's still here, she's probably at work. Talked to Jeff a tiny bit. Yeah, you know, a lot of these drug addicts think it's as wrong as I do, that I'm being sent to drug addicts for help. That I'm being sent to other homeless people who are being ignored for help. There's a lot of homeless people that wanted to use the fact that they're homeless as an excuse not to try helping me, not to come forward or tell the truth. See, here's the thing, these people told me their fears. And I told them mine because they were supposedly my friends. When they used those things against me, they should have understood that turnabout is fair play. You want people to help you right away, but you're not willing to help others right away, are you? Matter of fact, when somebody is being abused and they call you up because they're being abused and they need help right away, and you want to tell them about all of your problems and talk over them and tell them maybe you'll help them in a week, maybe you'll help them in 2 weeks. When it becomes a critical situation and you promise that you'll help on Friday, and on Friday you don't call until 9 o'clock at night to say that you're too busy, and say, oh, well, why don't you go here, and why don't you go there, why don't you talk to these people, and why don't you talk to those people? Telling me to go talk to a bunch of folks I already talked to. It's the fact that I had to talk to them alone that is the problem. It's the fact that my friends and family didn't want to become informed. They just wanted to ignore the situation because I don't matter. I don't matter to them. And if I don't matter to them, why should I matter to anyone else? Meanwhile, I know one person who has proven he's willing to go to prison to protect children, and that's me. I need help turning it in before it's buried in more recordings and more evidence. I get on here and I speak here because, well, who's gonna make the time in real life to listen to me? Who's gonna make the time in real life to help me with the things I need help with? A lot of y'all, especially poor people, are under the impression that cops are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. No, they're not. They only get away with it when you have to go in alone, or you have to go in with a fucking idiot or a drug addict. Like, that is the surest way to make sure that you don't get help. Go in alone or go in with a drug addict. Meanwhile, as long as there's two of you, they might even listen to a drug addict. Now, that situation with Murphy has been going on long enough. But that's just another situation created by, well, the Bollinger family and the police involved in her case. The fact that none of these mandated reporters gave a shit about me. They don't use the mentally ill thing to give me my rights as a disabled person. No, they use it to deprive me of my rights as both a disabled person and a human being. If you were victimized until you have a mental breakdown, and then the fact that you had a mental breakdown over abuse is used as an excuse for cops not to do their job, well, then we need to institute policies that allow victims, the real victims of police brutality, the real victims of systemic abuse, of greed, of overfinancing. You can house over a dozen homeless people for a full year for the amount that it takes to keep one homeless person locked up in jail for a year. But you don't want them getting free shit, and then you're gonna pretend like them getting time in jail is free shit, and they should be happy that they had a roof over their head and a meal once in a while. They also have zero fucking rights. To separate an at-risk and disabled adult from their support network is fucking evil. And that's exactly what happened when I hurt my back. A lot of predators took advantage of that. I had two actual friends at that point, Maddie Boa and Natalie Bollinger. Those racist youngins down there at Tillamook Sporting Goods. I still keep them safe despite the fact that they're racist little assholes a lot of the time. Just like Murphy uses the N-word to be antagonistic, so do many of those youth. That's why I record these situations. I don't want to be stuck out here with those kids in that parking lot. I didn't want to be stuck in the Fred Meyer's parking lot with Tom's crap all piled up against my vehicle. See, I got victimized for being good to other people, for helping other people. And then when people offered to help me, what did they do? Took advantage of me. Took advantage of my situation, lied to me, lied about me. And then they want to throw a tantrum when they got busted lying and it's posted up on the internet. People like Sarah Bacon, Nick Bacon. These people all showed that I told the truth. The things that I claimed were happening were in fact happening. People were in fact threatening and harassing the people who were offering to help me. Threatening to kill them and their families. People like my sister. People like Nick and Sarah Bacon. People like Cara Rogers, aka Cara Mia. Candace Bondurant. All these people that wanted to tell me that they were harassed. Most of them told me they were harassed by the police. Many of the people who claimed to be my friends when they were homeless were given housing and did highly predatory things once they got housing, such as Christine Bouhie destroying an entire profile full of evidence because she was afraid she was going to lose housing. She needed a place to do her drugs. Well, what did that result in? Resulted in George Helmstetter sitting there with her corpse for hours after she overdosed on fentanyl. I'm constantly running around to the different places and peoples that are supposed to help me, for them to do absolutely nothing, for them to tell me I have to do it myself, showing their bias against men and their bias against the homeless. And yet none of you speak up. You'll speak up for black people even though you're not black. Why is that? Why is it the white victims are ignored? Why is it the homeless victims are ignored? Why is it the disabled victims are ignored? Why is it that male victims are ignored? Why is it that all of those things, despite being against the law, are used to harm us anyway? Sure, it's against the law to discriminate against someone because of their gender, but every fucking cop does it. Every cop does it. Every judge, every lawyer, every prosecutor, every public pretender. When you're in the house, they'll help you out. When you're homeless, they'll send you a different route. The route of most profit. And when they do something wrong, it's going to be blamed on you. And you're going to be the one that takes the punishment. When you go to the police, they send you to mental health for help turning in your predators, and mental health refuses. They want to change the subject to literally anything except the abuse. How about you help me to turn in the fucking abuse like your fucking job is to do? Why did it take these people that did finally do something? Finally, after months and months and months and months of me saying, hey, I'm here because you're supposed to be mandated reporters. No matter what crime is committed against me, they ignore it. Tell me it's someone else's job. Tell me I should have gone to the police. When I explain, hey, I went to the police, they told me I got to go to you. You're just sending me back and forth for months and months and months while I am taking hell. Now, there's two women who have known me for over a decade. Danny Francis and Caitlin Tatum. And both of them, after over 6 years of blowing me off, of ignoring the situation, they told me that they were friends with people who knew Natalie. And both of them just wanted to procrastinate and not try to understand, and then try to make me feel bad for going to them for help, for saying, hey, if we're friends, be a friend, don't be a sexist. Also, I sure as shit know how to speak out. I had to stop the last video so that I could show Charlie and his girlfriend and Jeff, 3 homeless people here, pictures of the guy who's been stalking me, who I need help turning in. And I explained to him I don't want him hurt. I want help turning him in. I'd like to get back to my rocket videos because there's some really good ones I'd like to post up. There's a lot of videos that I wish I could. I'd like to show you what happens when you hit your fingers with a power washer. I'd like to show you the reality of the stuff that you guys talk about, commonplace every day. How many of the people that I went to wanted to talk about shooting people instead of helping me to turn in the crimes committed against me? Nearly all of them. Oh, some of them got inventive. Some of them wanted to talk about chopping people up and feeding them to their dogs. There's even people who said, you know what, if someone threatened my family like that, I would skin their kids alive in front of them. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, this person saying stuff like that, saying that they would skin someone's kids alive in front of them. Is this someone that is going to help me to turn in the crimes committed against me? Or is this somebody who is going to talk about doing horrible shit? Of course, not going to follow through with it, just going to talk about it. Meanwhile, many of my stalkers are people who are following through because they are severely fucked in the head. When people get busted and they have a position of power, they can utilize that position of power to get away with committing those crimes unless you have a friend or family member who cares. What I had are people who quit before they ever got started. Meanwhile, I'm not allowed to court. I'm not allowed to face my accusers. Of course, police officers are allowed to lie and omit information. The cops didn't want to do their jobs, so I had to do their jobs. And I did a lot more with a lot less. And no matter what, the police I was trying to turn in were allowed to harm me again and again and again, and to cut me off and prevent me from turning them in, to repeatedly gain access to my evidence illegally, to eat up as much time as possible, and to threaten, harass, and intimidate people who were trying to help me, which cut me off from funding, cut me off from any and all resources that I had at my disposal for defending myself. And to this day, that mentally ill tag is used to harm me no matter where I go. No matter where I go. It doesn't matter if it's Tillamook, Oregon, Hood River, Oregon, Tacoma, Washington, Olympia, Washington, Hardin, Montana, Billings, Montana, Belgrade, Montana, Bozeman, Montana, Gallatin Gateway, Montana, Rawlins, Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming, Buffalo, Wyoming, Chapel, Nebraska, Sidney, Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, Scottsbluff, Nebraska, Boulder, Colorado, Adams County, Colorado, Englewood, Colorado, Broomfield, Colorado, Longmont, Colorado, Haxton, Colorado, Rapid City, South Dakota, The Dalles, Oregon, Portland, Oregon. It's not just Hood River and Tillamook. There's also Chesapeake, Virginia. There's also Bristol, Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. I have to worry about predators because police don't do their jobs for a homeless man. They'll do anything for any of my predators, knowing that I'm trying to turn them in. Police will ignore any and all crimes against me, but they'll certainly help my predators when I try to turn them in. That's how they retaliate and abuse their power. Not that it matters without someone who cares. I'd like to be posting up for you why it is that I don't mess around with guns. Why it is that I don't mess around with rockets. Why it is that I don't fuck around with pressure washers. But that's all shit you're gonna have to learn for yourself, I suppose, because Facebook is censored. YouTube is censored. Boogers. This James Murphy feller. He's just one of many. When they do something fucked up to me, then they go use rumors as an excuse to harm me. And that's not fucking okay. This country is disgusting. When it comes to the war in Ukraine, I'm on Ukraine's side. But if Russia invaded the United States, I'd be on Russia's side. Be careful who you victimize. Some people have a big mouth. People like me. I only do things when necessary as far as breaking the law goes. If I got to break a window to save a child, I'll do it. If I have to go to prison again for protecting a child, I'll do it. If I have to go to jail again for protecting a child, I'll do it. Wholeheartedly. Even knowing how I'll be treated. Hopefully Susan shows up soon. Hopefully Tyler Crabtree. Hopefully I see him at some point today. I'd like to see if I can get his help turning it in. Susan's the only hope I got right now for stopping this abuse. When this stuff happens, I need help turning it in right away. The cops will come and harass me for anyone. That's what it's like when you're assaulted by someone like Officer Waylon Lolatai. That follows you everywhere. Either you're allowed to defend yourself or you're harmed wherever you go. Either you're allowed to show evidence or you are harmed wherever you go. Either your rights as a human being are observed or you are harmed wherever you go. Time to charge my phone, it's dying on me. Ah, there we go. This James Murphy feller, he literally harassed me for 7 months in Hood River, and others. The day I left Hood River, he followed me through Tillamook National Forest here to Tillamook. Now, these services that I'm supposed to go to as an at-risk and disabled adult who's being abused, they want to bully me to move elsewhere. They want to bully me into going to a different mandated reporter who's going to tell me it's not their job. They're going to tell me they're going to hook me up with their friend at some other service that I've already been to. I'm real good at telling when people are full of shit. If they actually care about you, when you tell them you're being abused, they will turn it in right away. They will offer to turn it in right away. I can't safely go in and turn this stuff in alone. And I don't know if Susan's going to be able to safely turn it in alone. Going in together is the best way to do it, and making sure that it's recorded. See, there's a safe way to do this, and people just wanted to argue and play stupid. The safe way to do it is to call these places with the victim and make sure that it's recorded, because it's against the law for them to blow off the victim, especially if the victim is an at-risk adult like myself. Now, that old guy, he's a senior, but he's not being victimized. He's not being stalked. I am. I had to leave Hood River. I was told that I had to go to Eugene. I had to go to Portland. I got to go to Salem. I got to go to those places in order to turn in the officers in Hood River, and in order to turn in the crimes against me. I already know once I get to those places, they're going to tell me, oh, you're in the wrong jurisdiction. We can't do anything. No matter what. I follow the rules, and the rules change. I've gone through it already. I've been through these lies from these fucking cops before. Cops nationwide. Their tactics when they won't do their jobs as mandated reporters for a homeless person, they'll lie to you over and over again and send you in circles. The moment they know that you don't have a friend or family member who's going to help you to turn it in, the felonies from these pieces of shit are non-stop.